Cater comments that it seems Leona would be good at anything because of how intelligent he is, and Leona says that he has been privately tutored from an early age in curriculum way more advanced than what he would have been taught in a school. He also learned the entire curriculum of Night Raven College from tutors before enrolling. He says that that is why he does not need to study, unlike Riddle, as he already knows everything that they are being taught in class. Leona's favorite subject is ancient incantations, which is the deciphering of dead languages. Leona explains that ancient incantations are overcomplicated by design, as many were created to conceal magical rites, so even experts struggle with them. You just gotta keep inching forward, analyzing what's there and comparing to what's already been deciphered, looking for similarities. Leona says that he has liked doing that sort of thing ever since he came across an inscription back home that had been written in a dead language, and he decided to decipher it to pass the time. In the end, the words themselves had not been anything special, but puzzling them out had been more fun than he'd had in a long time. Leona is repeatedly shown to be unusually intelligent for an NRC student. During Vargas camp he gives multiple lectures about the history of the mine, fairies, and the formation of magestones, to the surprise of those around him. When a Hartslobule student asks Leona why he was willing to help out other clubs that have nothing to do with him, Leona responds, "Last I checked, this wasn't a spelldrive game. No reason to get all competitive, at the end of the day, we're all in this together." While every other character in Spectral Soiree requires time and discussion to realize where it is that they were transported, Leona immediately recognizes the spectral realm. Leona spends the Spectral Soiree event coming up with multiple strategies for navigating the situation that are constantly thrown off by Floyd's unwillingness to cooperate, and seems very familiar with the use of mirrors as magical artifacts. He gives a lecture on how the mirrors with which they are familiar, the school's dark mirror, the hall of mirrors, and the view glasses, all connect two places together, and assembling the mirror shards that they are working to collect could result in trouble if they are not careful. He reassures his group that it is only one possibility that the mirror fragments might be dangerous, saying that it is only speculation, and they are ultimately revealed to be parts of a disco ball and not actually a threat. Leona is, however, proven correct about what the mirror shards were capable of. At the conclusion of the Halloween party, when it is time for Malleus to return the students to their own world, he transports them by having them look into the disco ball, with the reassembled mirror shards functioning as a connection between two places exactly as Leona had guessed. Leona is the only character to immediately surrender to Charon in Book 6 of his own free will, without a fight, recognizing the ferrymen for who they are. Leona gives an entire lecture on Charon and Stux to the other overblotted students of Vil, Riddle, Jamil and Azul. He is then the only character who is fully aware of being in a simulation from the start during Idia's experiments, and he alone deduces not only how Styx is doing what they're doing but also what their intentions were, all during the simulation itself. Idia comments, "Leona's probably the kind of guy who always knows he's dreaming." Leona is suspicious of how much top-secret information Idia is willing to share with them after they have been captured, and it is revealed that Idia is planning to wipe their minds following the completion of his experiments. It seems Leona is accomplished at animal linguistics as well, which we see when he eavesdrops on a conversation between Ruggie and Lucius and seems impressed by Ruggie's fluency. In a vignette, Leona helps Epel and Grimm create a voice-changing potion that Rook told Epel is so hard that it shows up on graduation tests and there is no absolute, surefire recipe, which is something he was reassured of by Rook, whom he describes as a potionology expert. Epel spends the entire vignette telling Leona that the challenge is too great, there is no point in trying and that Leona should give up, while Grimm repeatedly insults Leona to his face. Meanwhile, Leona successfully solves their problem for them without being asked to do so. When asked how he managed to create such a complex potion in so little time, Leona responds, "The normal way," which Grimm follows up with how he must have used some secret cheat. In addition to being well educated, Leona may be unusually perceptive. He seems to be the only person who was suspicious of Lilia's role in Spectral Soiree. He also catches on to Ace using him as a shield so that Ace can protect himself from Floyd, intentionally sacrificing Epel instead, and deduces that they were all gathered together in the same location at the same time intentionally before Malleus is revealed during Halloween. Leona is also the first to realize that Malleus is faking his own possession. Due to language restrictions, Ian has Leona catch Malleus referring to him by name, but the original situation was more subtle. Malleus slips into a different verbal tic mid-conversation, which Leona notices and calls him out on, starting a domino effect that ultimately compromises Malleus's charade and to Malleus's confession. During Book 6, Leona is also who makes the connection between the missing Grimm and a door in Stux that got blown off, deduces that Idia and Ortho are throwing out obstacles to try and buy themselves time, and notices the presence of the Crystal Titan through changes in the wind, long before Jamil. When Ruggie returns a presumably missing Lucius to train, Leona is suspicious based solely on the fact that Ruggie did not ask for a reward in exchange. It is revealed that Ruggie had arranged the entire situation in order to get trained to give him a break in magic history class. Leona also accurately suspects Jamil of having unpleasant thoughts about him based on his facial expression alone, and says he cannot imagine what Colin must be thinking to risk spending time with a schemer like Jamil. He just doesn't get that any one of these nights could be his last. It is unclear if this vignette is meant to take place before or after Jamil's overblot, but would not be inaccurate either way. Leona is fond of chess, saying that he would play against adults when he was a child, and we see in a vignette that he will even play against himself as he has no suitable partner at the school. We learn during the Master Chef event that Leona cannot use a microwave, which he explains is because he has always had chefs serving him his meals, both before and during his time at NRC, as he is a prince, so he has never had the occasion to use one. Unlike Malleus, the school's other prince, Leona seems to be adept at using modern technology. Leona saves the VDC competition by setting up the lighting program to save automatically to the cloud, enabling them to recover the data after Malleus accidentally deletes it during his restoration of the Colosseum. Jack says that, aside from Leona, most of the sports club members are pretty bad with technology. Leona also seems to be the only character who recognizes the traces of a massive spell having been cast over the area after Ville's overblot, aside from Ambrose the 63rd. In an interview published in Bees Log magazine, Leona's voice actor comments that Leona's lethargy and cynicism seem to be a result of his sharp intellect.